I've been kicked out of my near every bar around. I've been locked up for driving 120 through town. I've been shot at and cut with a knife, messing around with another man's wife. But other than that, we ain't nothing, just good old boys. Threw my boss out the window and got fired for my last job. Hot-wired a city truck and turned it over in the mayor's yard. Beat my brother-in-law half to death. Lost $20 on.
Hey, good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Wade and Carter Show. On behalf of Ash, who's in Canada, enjoying a little getaway. I'm your host, Brent Carter, and here is Commander Cam.
Good morning.
There he is, right there, looking somewhat diabolical, but really a good guy. I can't emphasize to you the cat-like quickness that Cody just employed. We got to talking, and Tuesdays are notoriously
slow news
Tuesdays. That's just what they are.
That's what we call it
in the business. That's what it is. And we've been.
Are we in the business?
Without even trying. We're not in the. We don't make any money.
Right.
But we're in the business. Scouring multiple sources, and we found a great show for you. But it's not a given. It's not like yesterday where hostages were freed, and it's not like that. Today there was some work to be done, and I'll be honest. And I hate when people say that, right? Because it insinuates that there's times you may not be honest. But Ash is really good at that, at crafting what needs to be discussed.
He's the researcher of the group.
Yeah, and I'm the one that makes it make sense, or hopefully somewhat interesting. Like this morning coming in on Breitbart at 5:30, Mike Slater, who's he's a great source. If you're ever on Breitbart, Patriot Radio in the morning, it's not just a conservative spot. He's a Christian guy. He's just a smart guy and enjoyable to listen to. And a nice person. He's not acerbic like me. He's very gentle.
Nice.
He's nice. But he was talking about basketball tryouts for his 7-year-old. I mean, that's the kind of news day that it could be.
Right.
So just being realistic. But he's not in Texas, and in Texas we have so much to talk about. Folks, the Wade and Carter weather is brought to you by our great friends, our dear friends at Deerland Feed. It's 66 degrees in Victoria, under clear skies, heading to a high of 90. A handful of things to kick around today. I do want to remind you, the South Texas Spirits and Cigar Festival is this Saturday. South Texas Spirits and Cigar Festival. It is what it sounds like. But it starts early, okay? So Thursday evening, October 16th at 6 p.m., if you come downtown, if you're at Moonshine or La Cantina or another Poor Decision, there's going to be spirits being served. It's going to be kind of like a walk the streets trade show. Should be very interesting, very entertaining. And then on Friday, let's see. Oh, brand nights continue on Friday evening at 6 p.m. at all the same restaurants. So Thursday and Friday nights, you can come down here. And let's see. And then on the 18th, which is Saturday,
yeah.
Doors open at 4 at the community center for the VIP and the designated driver ticket holders, 5 p.m. for general admission. 70 different brands of wine, beer, and spirits, largest selection of allocated bourbons, rye whiskeys, and tequilas ever offered in Victoria. They're going to have an outdoor venue where you can smoke a cigar and listen to live music. Early bird ticket pricing ends on Friday the 17th. So you want to go, by the way, we make it so simple. Cody makes it so simple. Brandeis makes it so simple. Go to the WadeandCarter.com.
WadeandCarter.com.
WadeandCarter.com. I was going to say the website.
Right. That's also true.
And there is just click on news.
At the very top.
And
News.
boom, right there's the link for you to go and order a ticket. I think it's $99 or $100 for VIP and $49 for general admission. Now, my experience has been they have these events in San Antonio. And in San Antonio, you might have 150 bourbon dealers. But let's be honest, 70? I mean, what are you going to do? If you just take one shot at each booth, I mean, you're going to need your designated driver. But the idea would be that you pay $250, and a lot of these places they'll give you a backpack that might say Cohiba on it, and then as you walk around, it's like a trade show, and people will give you samples. So you pay $250 to go to the event, but you leave there with $500 worth of cigars.
Well,
I mean,
but it's not $250 here.
no, it's $100 here for VIP.
Right. And then
You'll
50
probably
if
leave
you-
with over $100 worth of cigars. You know, if you're an aficionado, you'll enjoy. I do want to point out to you that, yes, I am wearing Dawn Nicole on my shirt.
She's staring in my soul.
She can stare right through you. Today is Donnie's birthday. So today is the day of Dawn Nicole's birthday week,
Oh,
which is part of October, which of course is Dawn's birthday
month. Right.
And again, as a man, I am sorely inadequate. That no matter it should be like birthday quarter. I'm sure I have failed in that regard.
Well, after we get done talking about Dawn, which is obviously the most important person here,
Absolutely.
100%. Could we join the South Texas Spirits event with the Gridiron Symphony event? Same night. Could
You
it
could go
could it
early.
be a both and? Maybe date night?
It'd be a great date night. You could take your bride, friend, significant other to the cigar deal early.
I'm sure she or he would love that.
Would love that. And then you could go over to the symphony. They're going to have a tailgate.
Right. Absolutely.
And they're going to have a party over there. And then they're going to have it's symphony night, which is they're going to play all the football theme songs.
I wonder if they would have designated drivers and if those designated drivers would be cheaper than 30 a driver.
I don't know. People
May-
are honking at us on the street. Is that
we-
the
we-
protesters?
I think we've got something going.
Is that the paid protesters?
It could be. There's 8 of them. Is that a problem?
We do. It's the hateful eight. We absolutely do encourage you to also attend the symphony event, which
Absolutely.
is going to be wonderful. We
It sounds like it could be a fun night with
it could
both
be a
of them.
great night. People say there's nothing to do in Victoria.
Right. That's a lot in one night.
Kimberly Tomasic coming in and talking about that. She's really done great things with the symphony. We encourage you to enjoy that. So real quick, Greg Garcia, Ricky King, Sherry Merrick, Jacobs take up the top 3 spots. Marvin Mickish, Bobby Leister, Scott Tomko. Scott Tomko, Dallas Stars off to a 2-0 start. That's all I know about hockey. Jordan Glass, Monty Howard, Lisa Poole, Micah Patton, BJ Nelson, Scott Snow. There you go. Linda Chris Jr., Heather Stewart. Hello, ma'am. Junior says he's always available for cameo appearances. Cody, would you agree that we know that Junior's always available to come in and kind of scratch his attention whore Jones?
Yes, we do.
Yeah. Okay.
And yet there's still one of us doing the show.
yeah.
No.
Yeah.
You know, I think Zed also helps on the Bill Posey show. Zed
Helps is he's there. He has input.
sometimes that's all you need.
There you go. BJ Nelson says, are you repping shirts like you have on today? You know, I would auction off this shirt of Dawn Nicole for the right charity. I would auction it off. Tammy Keeling, Stephanie.
But you have
Compton.
like 4 more in your closet, right?
Sure. Yeah, I've got pajamas I sleep in. Yeah. Yeah.
I'm
Yeah,
sure you
yeah.
do.
Daniel Wade White. Daniel did a great job the other day at the Field of Honor. Look at that. Junior says, I bought my tickets and Linda's my designated driver. Zed checking in. Andy Rogovich. Oh, by the way, thank you, Andy. He says today is also Charlie Kirk's birthday. Oh, that's Ricky King, again, Terry Murray, Jarrett McCrugan, Stephanie Connie, David Glass. What a great group. And that's just early. That's in the early
wee
voting.
hours.
Yeah, early voting. We're just going to spitball around today. There's a lot of things to talk about. I'd like to find some things that I think are highly important, but more important is that they be interesting. Worth noting that last night, University of Texas alum Bijan Robinson, playing for the Atlanta Falcons against the now 4-2 Buffalo Bills, he had 19 carries for 170 yards and caught 6 passes for 68 yards as the Falcons beat the Buffalo Bills 24-14. I just find it, even going into the season, the Bills are only the Falcons are only 3-2. But it's unbelievable to me that in the first half, the Buffalo Bills ran 19 plays, and 11 of those plays were 0 or fewer yards gained. That's amazing. I mean, these teams played in the Super Bowl. So you're starting to see, I think, a certain parity to a level in the NFL. The Kansas City Chiefs are no longer the big favorite. The New York Giants are winning games they shouldn't be winning. Only the Dallas Cowboys are the modicum of consistency and should finish around 9-7-1. Good morning, Brent Goen. Hope you're doing good, bud. So a handful of things I do want to mention. It's worth you folks knowing. Torrin Bell says the Cowboys still suck, and he's right. And OB, my buddy out in California, Sacramento, by the way, he says the Bills loss puts them behind the Patriots. We're back.
I didn't even know the Bills were still a team.
They are. They are a team. I want to mention for you folks that know and are interested in the passing of what I call the conscience of the program, Judge Don Posey. Today, from 5 to 7 p.m., there is a visitation and a rosary at Rosewood Funeral Home, which is right there at Rosewood's right there at the corner of like Mockingbird and John Stockbauer.
Mm-hmm.
So that's from 5 to 7. You can go by and pass along your sympathies to the family. And then tomorrow there is a mass at Holy Family right there on Millette Drive at 10 a.m. So just Don was a big part of the program and a great friend. So we like to make sure that folks know about his services. Handful of things. First, we also want to mention, do not forget. Greg Garcia says the Broncos will unseat the Chiefs. I mean, the Broncos, they haven't been good since John Elway was there.
Wait, they're still a team too?
They're still a team. Yeah. Yeah. Hello, Robert Zaveski. I want to talk to you about the Sports Advocate. So you can go to, tell them how to get there. They go to WadeandCarter.com and then, no. They type in what?
The Sports Advocate.
Wow. You just type in
.com.
sportsadvocate.com and you can register to.
Right there. Right there.
Right. $9.99 a month, $100 a year. It's a no-brainer. I mean, did you ever think that we would get the prolific output that we're getting from Mike Foreman? He writes constantly.
Yeah, I mean, we're putting out 5 to 7 really well done articles with photos and stuff every week. And all it does is it shows up in your email. It's got a title on it. You can decide if you want to look at it or not. And I don't even have any reason to care about high school sports, and I read them.
It's
and
very
I think they're
interesting.
interesting.
He's a great journalist, and it's worth noting that part of this is to help Mike. Mike doesn't need help, but the reality is he needs a creative outlet. He writes for a living. It's what he does, and he doesn't have a home. So we gave him a home. And
Well, he does have a home. We don't have like a cot in the corner.
He doesn't like type in his car or anything.
Right. Yeah. I was like, he does have a home.
Yeah, Greg Garcia says the Broncos won the Super Bowl in 2015 with Peyton Manning at quarterback. That's true. I forgot that. I did forget. Peyton Manning with his neck. He had his neck surgery. Yeah. Junior Stamble says, I have Going Electric coming out today to discuss a whole house generator. Details to follow. I did tell them where I found them on Wade and Carter, 10% increase in price. So you may have Going Electric coming out. We promote Went Electric.
Yeah.
I like where your head's at, Junior.
That's a Bill Posey sponsor there.
Yeah, that's a Bill Posey. Is Bill with Going?
Yes.
They're all family to me. Thank goodness. I do business with all of them. But Junior, a little misplaced.
This is why
there.
Junior can't be a co-host.
No, he can't because he's just is ignorant. I don't know. Terry Murray says tomorrow from 4:30 to 6, chamber ribbon cutting for Sheriff A.J. Louderback's House District 30 district office in Heritage Mark. I think everybody gets a free pair of nunchucks.
Awesome.
So that, and maybe some throwing stars. That's awesome that Representative Louderback's got a new office going in from 4:30. I'm quite certain that I'll be there. Refreshments include, I don't know.
You can all leave your offerings under the door down the hall with my business name on it.
Sure.
It'll be fine.
Sure.
I'll make sure it gets to the right people.
Well, let's do this. I'm gonna go to the Cody camp. Boom. There it is.
Hello.
I want to talk to you about just because I feel like allowing you to rant a little bit. You came in this morning. You were a little bit flushed. You were irritated.
I was.
Let's take people through your morning. Let's just open up. Let's share.
Okay. So I have a baby. She is a few weeks old now, and we get coupons in the mail for this sensitive formula that she has to have, that the doctor said this is what she needs to be healthy. So we take the coupons to the store. And a couple of weeks ago, HEB on Navarro said to me, you can't use these coupons with your wife's name on it. And I said,
wait, did they say with your wife's name on it?
So my wife's name is on the coupon.
But did they know that? Or did they think you found the coupon in the
Well, they asked me who the name was. And I said, that's my wife. She has the same last name that I have, and we live at the same address, and my license can prove both of those. And they got a manager involved, and at the end of it, they decided that I wasn't allowed to purchase said formula with said coupons, and I landed up just leaving.
So here's my knee-jerk comment.
Right.
What does it matter to HEB? If it's a
Does
$30 coupon and
Right.
they send it off to Infamil,
Right.
Infamil's going to send them $30.
Right. And
Why do they care which messenger picks up the? I think it's
doesn't.
discrimination because you're a man.
I would agree with you. They nowhere on the coupon does it say the person's name on it. It has to be the one that uses it. Nowhere does it ask me to sign representing that I am the person on the
And
card.
clearly, Infamil wants that coupon. To
Absolutely.
be
Or they
used.
would not keep sending them to us in the mail.
Right.
Today I went to the other HEB where I have purchased said formula with said coupons.
So were you at HEB North or you at Ghetto B?
I was at the one off.
Law Rent?
Yes.
That's Ghetto B.
okay.
Yeah.
Because they have always let us use the coupons, and then today it was a problem again. That who was I? Why was I trying to use these coupons? And I said, "That's my wife. This is our baby. I was part of the process."
Is it a way to help make crystal meth? I mean, can you
Well,
use
that's
Infamil?
what I don't get. Am I peddling this out of the back of my car? Is there something I'm missing?
Hey, kid, you want to buy some white powder?
It's not powder. It's liquid.
Oh,
It's pre-mixed.
I don't see the problem.
Right. I don't either. That's what I don't get is why is this such a big deal to them that they want to make it hard? Dad, mom, sister, who cares? Let them buy the formula. It's not like I'm trying to buy drugs. I'm not trying to buy.
Right, you're
something.
not using your you're
Right.
not buying.
I'm
some
not
type of a
reselling
pain
the
reliever.
formula. Do you want
And
pictures?
if
What do you want?
are reselling the formula, Infamil doesn't care.
Right.
What would stop your wife from doing the same resale?
100%. But at the end of the day, I'm buying the formula. I'm using the formula for the designated purpose, but I'm not signing the coupon. I'm not stating I am being someone who I'm not. I'm not being dishonest in any way. I don't see the big deal because the manufacturer doesn't know that I'm using the coupon.
No,
So I
that's
don't know.
true.
Maybe our audience and our constituents know something we don't know.
Does anybody know why HEB would care at all which
Parent.
errand runner picks up
Right.
the formula.
I was passing by. That's why I did it.
I would be most upset if I asked you, hey, you guys have got a new baby. Can I help you? Yeah, man, Brandon, if you could run this errand, that'd be awesome.
100%. Right.
And I go in there with
And it says coupon on it. It doesn't say personal check. It doesn't say anything that would resemble being, that's somebody else's money.
Yeah, Junior Sample says they let you pick up prescriptions for your wife, and kids' formula is different. How? Linda says, I guess they're trying to prevent you from going out and having a formula party with all your friends. There's nothing like mixing just a little
bourbon with it.
With formula.
Little
the kid will
frosty
sleep.
top.
That's where sleep like a baby comes from. Yeah, very interesting.
Yes, for sure. So
let's do this. Let's take a break. And if anybody has a serious response.
And maybe somebody from HEB somewhere in the ethosphere is listening, and Walmart doesn't carry this particular formula. The doctor said we need it. So HEB is our only avenue to purchase it locally. And, all we're trying to do is do what the doctor has suggested we do. So I don't know. I don't see the big deal.
Tammy Keeling, always a plethora of knowledge, says coupon comes in the mail because pediatrician submitted her name to send coupons, ? Formula shortage have been an issue for children who need the formula. Maybe both of your names put on the coupon. I don't know. But again, let's say that both names, and thank you, Tammy. Let's say that both names were on the coupon. You're still just buying one purchase with $30 off. That's all you're buying. There's still one. It's not like you and her get $60 off.
Right. Well, and we're only buying 3 to 4 bottles. So it's not like we're clearing out the store. We're not buying a ton.
No.
But
Linda Chris says start shopping in Cuero. She does that a lot.
Okay.
Maybe you know what? You're on the road a lot. Maybe it makes sense to stop in there at Cuero and
maybe so.
Isn't that something? To me, that's a mess. Let's take a quick break and we'll get to look.
Thank y'all for your input.
Absolutely. You want people that make sense. You want people that do what they're supposed to do. Call Allen's Wrecker Service, 578-6300. Allen will get you from here to there. Andy says, I can imagine it's part of a government program, the bureaucracy at work. No, it's Infamil. It's branded.
Yeah, we're not getting food stamps or anything at our house.
Yeah.
Baby stamps or whatever.
Torrin Bell says they would probably want both of you there if both names were on the coupon. Junior adds that the Cuero HEB is, by the way, I'm a huge HEB proponent. Love HEB. And by the way, I'm going to go a step further because Cody's nicer than me. I have a feeling I would have left with the formula. I have a feeling I would.
But you'd had to pay full price for it.
Veracruz Restaurant, get in today. It's a pre-Caldo Wednesday, Tuesday. Get in today, have the full menu, sans caldo. Chicken fried steak, pork chop plate, all the best Tex-Mex in town. Veracruz is your go-to. It's the one. Get in there and enjoy it. The chopping block, I'll get to that. I got an email from them yesterday. I'll give you the specifics of the week as soon as I can. White Trash Services, 550-1826. White Trash. I'm looking. White Trash is there to help you with all your trash needs. Just give them a call, 550-1826. They will help you with weekly trash service, dumpster service. They can do anything you need done that involves the removal of garbage. Went Services, went for all your electrical needs, went for Junior's Generac generator. He said he mistyped. So he saw Brent Gowen's name and he threw Gowen out there and just got his little fat fingers, he's got his Edelweiss shirt on while I'm wearing Donnie's shirt.
Did you find the chopping block? Because I found the
I got it. No, okay. I've got the chopping block. Went Services for all your generator needs. Let Went help you. This week at the chopping block, $6 baseball sirloins. That's a great deal. It's a piece of steak about the size of your fist. And it's sirloin, which by the way, except for the fact that sometimes compared to a ribeye or a filet, a sirloin's not always as tender. The sirloin has the best beef flavor, I think. Because when I was a kid, we ate a lot of hamburger. And when you got to eat sirloin, that was a big deal. And it still is. $6 sirloins. It's great. $6 baseball sirloin sale. $9.99 a pound picanha roast, which is great. You cook it medium rare, and you make a little chimichurri sauce. It's just fantastic. $11.99 picanha steak sale. That's picanha roast for $9.99. The steaks are $11.99. $15.99 ribeyes, $15.99 a pound. Great deal. Alligator boudin.
It looks good. That's what I found on the Facebook.
No, yeah. I tell you what, if you go to the Facebook page for the chopping block, you'll like it. You'll like it.
Brisket Mac Poppers is also a special this week.
Yep.
That sounds dangerous.
Junior Samuel says HEB is just being difficult, a manager justifying their overeducation. It is amazing to me how many people at HEB have been there for years and years and years. They are a fantastic corporation, one of the largest employers in the state. I mean, I think they're pushing 180,000 employees now, and they're just growing leaps, as Dad would say, hand over fist. They're growing. So, let's get back to some interesting stuff. We'll talk about voter registration.
That wasn't interesting?
Yeah, well, I mean, back to it. I said back to. It is interesting, this Zoran Mamdani, most likely to be the next mayor of New York City. Amazing. Zoran has employed the royal blue, cranberry red, and marigold yellow. You need to look up his campaign. It's Zoran for New York City. And it's a throwback to Bollywood, which I was just educated this morning is the Indian version of Hollywood. And that Zoran's mother was a director of Indian cinema, like Salam Bombay and Monsoon Wedding. She made movies in India. And he's using this lighthearted mark, is what they call that in the business, logo, for his campaign. Very interesting. The guy, so I don't know what to do with Zoran.
It rhymes with another word.
Moron, yeah.
Right.
But I want to get to, if I can find it, there's more than one Zoran comment today. He's got a big propensity to waffle. He is, like, for example, earlier he was 100% in support of absolutely free buses for everybody in New York City. Free buses. And now he still wants free buses, but he's open to discuss it. He was all about like defunding the police and not prosecuting certain crimes. But now he supports a police chief that, maybe. So what he's doing, what I'm gathering in the big picture, is he's saying anything it takes to get elected. And that makes me nervous. He's all for rent control, a 4-year rent freeze, yada, yada, yada.
No cost child care.
Oh, for anybody.
City-owned grocery stores.
Yeah, he's out there. He's out there with things that won't work.
That's not feasible.
Let's go back to Jennifer Rayburn, really smart lady, says there have been cases of coupon fraud, and part of it involves postal fraud since the coupons arrive USPS addressed to a specific person. In most cases, the fraudsters are engaged in false representation, manufacturing, falsifying coupons, and presenting them in bulk for cash back. Maybe it's all part of a larger crackdown. I'm all for that. But when Cody goes in and the coupon says Ballman and his wife's name on it and her name is Ballman and the address on his driver's license is the address on the mailer, there's a part of me that says that HEB needs to leave the fraud to the FBI.
Right. Well, we're talking about one coupon.
Yeah, and you're not trying to get cash. You're trying.
And there's no cash option there. It's only it pays for the formula or it doesn't.
Yeah. Greg Garcia, back to Mandami. New York is a lost cause. If they elect him, no federal funds are going to go there and shouldn't, and that is true. Donald Trump said, "You will not get a dime from the feds if you employ your Ugandan-led communist agenda in the largest and arguably most important city in the country. I don't understand where we are as a country if we even explore allowing him. Yeah, Torrin Bales is correct. The pain may be worth it. If elected, will be the best thing ever to help the Republican Party. Yeah. Andrew Alvarez says Zoran is being investigated for complaints of scripting foreign money for his campaign. Includes a $13,000 donation from his grandmother who doesn't live in the U.S. Very interesting. Yeah. Oh, I agree. Junior says he's a socialist communist daydream. I bet he has 5 armed security guards, but wants your guns removed. Torrin wants to know if maybe the baby formula resale tent you set up outside of HEB led to you not getting what you wanted.
Oh, it's at the farmer's market. It's not outside of HEB.
Yeah. Yeah. At the farmer's market. That's nice. I'm trying to get to, this is interesting. You remember that guy, John Fetterman? He's a senator from Pennsylvania.
Sweaty Fetty?
Sweaty Fetty with his hoodie on. Fetterman is the guy that used to be a complete lunatic. He was. And then he had a stroke. You'll remember that he had a stroke. And he was out of Congress for a while. And then I think he got reelected after his stroke. He got reelected. And then all of a sudden, he went from being like the golden child of rebellion for the left to one of the very few Democrats who's not completely unhinged and seemed to make sense. And he started saying things like, I can't ever, nor will I ever vote to shut down our government. It was wrong if the Republicans did these things. And I led that charge back in March, saying it's wrong to shut us down. And we kept it open. I said in March that when September comes, I'm going to be the one guy that says it's wrong to do this. The losers are these poor Americans here that are getting caught in the middle of this thing. So this is coming from the Epoch Times. It's just a direct quote, but it's coming from the Epoch Times. He says, or it says, the article says, a sticking point for Democrats has been health care, particularly wanting their Republican counterparts to extend the tax credits for the ACA, the affordable, it should be the UCA, the Unaffordable Care Act, which expire at year's end. Fetterman rejected tying the debate over ACA credits to a shutdown, which we've said here. It's very smart. You want to negotiate, you need to have the government open to negotiate. You don't shut it down. Why are you punishing people at air traffic control, for example? Because you're so enthralled in trying to save them money on healthcare that you keep them from getting paid at their job. He says, now I fully support, let's have a conversation to extending those tax credits. I think a lot of Republicans might even agree with that too. That's a priority for us, and they might agree. But, let's have a government open. Let's have our government open and have that conversation so people can get paid, and we can't have this kind of chaos. I understand that my party may want to shut our government down. I'll be a Democrat saying, hey, that's wrong. That's why I'm choosing country over party on this. Hats off to John Fetterman. I mean, he's making perfect sense. You'll recall that the Republicans have the majority in the House, 53 out of 100. But it takes 60 people to confirm the budget. So that means all 47 Democrats, all of them, voted to shut down the government. That's just the simple math. That's what happened. They blame it on the Republicans. So you lose an election. A big part of the election is you lose it based on spending. Then when the Republicans refuse to give you $1.5 trillion, you say, Neener, I'm taking my vote and going back to my office. And shame on you, Republicans, because you won't still let us run the government the way we want to run it. We're going to shut it down. You were not elected to run it that way. Interesting. Scott Bessent says that he's Treasury Sec, says the ongoing shutdown has begun to impact the U.S. economy. The Treasury Department is adjusting its payment processes so active duty service members can continue to get paid. This is approaching one of the longest shutdowns, 13 days, I think. Very interesting. Very, very interesting. I'm trying to see here. JP Morgan. This is boring. Trump-Xi meeting back on track. Trade war de-escalating. As they say that in the Epoch Times, Trump also now has 100% tariff on a lot of goods from China. By the way, I've still yet to feel impacted by the tariffs. I don't know if the price of bananas went up. I don't feel like I'm unable to do anything based on the tariffs. I do think both parties employ a lot of funny money. We've raised this much money in tariffs and we've done this. Well, where is it? Where is it? I've still got potholes on Glasgow. That's just the fact. Let's see. U.S. President Donald Trump signaled that he will meet with Chinese Communist Party leader Xi Jinping in the upcoming APEC summit in South Korea after Chinese authorities seemed to walk back an October 9th announcement that China would tighten critical mineral export controls. So they okay. That's the signal the president has given, Bessent told Fox, referencing Trump's earlier statement on Truth Social that there was no reason to meet with Xi after Beijing announced the export control. The APEC is from October 30th to the 1st in South Korea. The lines of communication have reopened. You see, you get down here. The next day, Trump responded with threats of 100% tariffs and export restrictions on critical software. Yeah, I keep going back to all the information Bill Clinton gave the Chinese way back when. The Chinese don't really develop anything. They reverse engineer things. Other people do the engineering. They do the heavy lifting, the development. The Chinese find a better way to make it often, and they also often enhance something that somebody else has done, but they very rarely innovate. And that's not a put down. It's not racist or anything. I'm just saying it's the observable fact. Ukraine President Zelensky says he'll travel to Washington to meet Trump on the 17th. He wants the Tomahawk. He wants the Tomahawk cruise missile. And the problem with that is the Tomahawk cruise missile has the capability to reach Moscow. So I have no doubt that you're going to see anger, angst, concern, anxiety from Vlad Putin over the fact that Ukraine President Zelensky would have the ability to reach out and touch the Kremlin if it were necessary. That's interesting. I think that if I'm Russia, if I put on my Russia hat, that's going to mark an escalation of the conflict. It's going to make me more anxious towards the United States, towards NATO. It's going to make me angry if I'm Putin. The fact is, the Russian charade is being exposed. Russia's just not what they were. I'm not saying they couldn't nuke us, but I've said for years, you've heard me say it here, that I believe half their silos are full of paper mache missiles. I think that a lot of it is smoke and mirrors. I don't have any real fear of them in a military conflict. They can't beat Ukraine. You see what Israel did to Gaza swiftly, 2 years. Russia's been fighting Ukraine for 3 years plus, and they've really just, they've now got North Koreans fighting for them. They've got really a bag of nothing in Russia. They just don't have much going on. Let's see. Trying to find some more stuff. Go back to still today's news on 1440, the Daily Digest. Today's news involving hostages being returned. It's amazing. Hamas released the last 20 living Israeli hostages yesterday, sparked by, that were taken in on October 7th of 23. Israel then freed nearly 2,000 Palestinian prisoners and detainees. The exchange is part of a U.S.-backed 20-point peace plan. The Democrats yesterday really coming unhinged and saying that Donald Trump merely installed Joe Biden's regime's 20-point peace plan, that the Biden administration came up with this peace plan. Well, bully for them.
With an auto pen? Is that how they do it?
I don't know, but I find it interesting. If you've read the peace plan, as I have, and most of you have, it's really not that hard to do. I honestly believe that this group could say, well, what do we need to do? Well, let's see. First of all, we need to quit shooting each other. Okay, let's stop there. Let's have a ceasefire. Then we need to, you should give the hostages back, and then we'll give you some people back. That makes sense.
Step 2.
Then we should probably form a committee, maybe have a covered dish supper.
Definitely covered.
Right? I got the green bean casserole. It's easy, but everybody likes it. Let's have a meal and sit down and figure out how to move forward, because we need to rebuild Gaza, because as Trump says, it's beautiful real estate. Oh, wait, we should probably figure out a way to form a committee to do that. And we should probably have the president, and we'll get some other people that people trust, like, I don't know, Tony Blair. Let's put him on that committee. If you just go through the 20 steps, don't act like Joe Biden or Donald Trump did any panaceic greatness here. It's really just common sense. Then we need to encourage investment. Then we need to encourage that Hamas has no more say in that region. These are key points in the 20-point plan that just come off the tongue as common sense. None of this is a big deal, but the Dems are going, all Donald Trump did was steal Joe Biden's plan. Just stupid. They're just so stupid. I just don't understand, which brings me to Cody. So where did you go the other day? Cody Cam alert. Cody Cam, there it is. Where did you go the other day that you went to a deal for some special needs kids?
Oh, yeah. We went out. I think it was called Friendship Fest. It was out at the Lee Tracy Park. And while we were there, we kept getting, would you like to get registered to voted? By people wearing Democratic.
Is that like a verb phrase? We got registered to voted. That's like when they're coming up and trying to hit you up to vote.
Yeah, I guess so. They multiple times, I was only there for about 30 minutes, multiple times came up in their Democratic Party t-shirts and clipboards wanting to help us get registered to vote. What I didn't like was I didn't feel like it was the place to do it. That was supposed to be about kids having a good time and a good day. And
but don't you think the Democrats were there in force? Because
absolutely.
They want to emphasize that as Democrats, we care so deeply.
Well, and they all had matching shirts on, the matching clipboards. If it had been a place to worry about getting people to register to vote, then to me, why do you need a party shirt? Why not just come out as a voting group and come help people with no ulterior motive?
I agree.
To me,
if
that
you
would
just
have
want
been-
people to vote,
Yep.
that's fine. If you want them to register to vote because you're a Democrat, that's
then,
coercive.
then be honest about it.
right.
Hey, we're here with the Democratic Party. We want to help you vote. If you
Democrat. We want you to vote Democrat.
right, if you want to vote Democrat, we'll be glad to help you set it up. You know, to me, it's just kind of like the sneaky, I'll go through the back door situation.
Right.
I get in a public event, people are going to do things like this. I just felt like it should be about the kids and it should be about what it was supposed to be about. But if you're going to do it anyway, be honest. Be,
Well, and you
be
and I
who
kinda
you're going to
went-
be.
We went to another level in that conversation where we discussed the fact that you said that you grew up in Arkansas. You had family members that were
Some were Democrat, some were Republican, right?
right, but at the time, right, there was very little difference between them. They both were 100% pro country. They were both unashamedly capitalistic. They were not. No, I mean, none of your grandparents ever suggested that we become communist.
Right.
They didn't believe in a free lunch. They fought in World War II. They believed in community, and they believed that people needed to work together. But they just sometimes didn't agree over how much of a role government should play in that. I found it interesting that I think it was Portland. I could be wrong. Somebody help me. Up on the west, I know it was on the West Coast, and I know it was in the Northwest. You had a bunch of people that wanted to protest ICE being in their community.
Oh, right.
These people rode bicycles naked. These are unhinged, illogical idiots. They're just idiots. And by the way, in general, I mean, all things being equal, Democrats are not attractive enough to ride bicycles naked.
Probably just not riding bicycles.
I mean, we're talking about some long titties, not big titties, long titties. Tammy Keeling with a solid point to wrap up the Gaza deal. She says, why does it take anything away from Trump that Israel rejected the same or a similar plan when presented by Biden? I don't think it does. Good job ending the war and returning the hostages, hoping we get to real peace, and we're not there yet. I agree. I just know as a Christian and somebody who's read the book, I mean, this isn't over. Those Arabs have been warring forever, and the Muzzies are in it for the long haul. They will play the long game. They will run Mandami to get a foothold in New York City. They will sneak a Muzzy into your school board. They will sneak a Muslim into your city council. They are in it for the long haul. These will all be the assimilated, super kind, really nice, probably wealthy Muslims that have no agenda. They're just here to help. Can't we all get along? And then the next thing you know, you're going to wish that you hadn't let them in the door. Oh, Brent, you're, what do you call it when you don't like Muslims? Islamophobic. Oh, you're this. Now you're racist. Call me what you want. I'm American. These people come here. I don't care about their religion. Stay out of our politics. You want separation of church and state? You can worship a doorknob for all I care. Stay out of our political system. You don't believe what we believe. It's just the way it is. I like being labeled that way. I'll take that label.
Maybe I'm just a simple guy of going back to the kids event and thinking, let's just keep the main thing the main thing.
Amen. Junior Simple says, when the devil comes in your house, it's because you've opened the door and let him in. Hey, I've got Muslim friends. I do. I don't want them to be my next governor. I don't.
Well, then you got to ask, what is Junior talking about?
Well, Junior's talking about exactly what I just said. And the reality is, you've got to be careful with you can't believe, you simply can't be naive enough to believe that if you start letting folks set up, entire Muslim communities, and that we just want to have a little enclave in North Dallas. That the next thing you know, I mean, it's what they do. They're going to want to institute Sharia law. They're going to want to, well, this is our community. We can do what we want here. Not if it's against federal law. You can't. They killed Koresh. You know, I mean, it is what it is. Of course, that was wrong to do, but they did it. I'm just telling you, it ain't going to work. That's right. That's right. I don't want Christian law any more than I want the Taliban, but it's unavoidable that in this country, the Constitution was crafted by people guided by Judeo-Christian values, and our laws, all of our laws, most of our laws in this country center around, not the abortion law, but most of the laws in our country center around biblical principles, not Quran principles. They just simply do. And it's not difficult to go back, and I'm not saying that it's ideal, but you can go back and look at certain states. I think Pennsylvania was, you know, there were states that were known and founded based on certain religions. I'm not saying that's great. I'm just saying that's the way it is. They weren't founded on Islam. There were states where, think of the original 13, more than half, you had to be either a certain religion or at least profess to be a Christian in order to get elected. That was what, in our lifetime, Tammy, in our lifetime, it was a big deal that John F. Kennedy was the first Catholic president ever. That was a big deal. There you go. I agree. The Constitution is expected to prevent a theocracy or religious persecution by the government. Actually, the separation of church and state does not in any form mean that you don't have religion involved in your government. What it means in context, in the time that it was laid out, was that the Church of England was the Church of England, and that the Queen was at the top of that hierarchy. The monarchy determined religion. She was viewed as a deity. At the time, the king, I guess, was actually not Elizabeth. Yeah. Was the king, was the head of the church. That's what the founding fathers were absolutely seeking to avoid, and did. But it doesn't mean, and you should be as liberal as you can in that interpretation. It allows anybody to worship anything they want. That's fine. You can do that. But you don't get to come in, proliferate, take over cities, Milwaukee, and the next thing you know, you decide, well, this is how we're going to operate because, I mean, the majority rule, and this is the way it's going to be. Yeah, I agree. The Constitution does. It protects the churches from the government, not the government from religion. Yeah. So it is what it is. What do you folks think about? And I just saw this in one of the articles we were reading. What do you think about the Ten Commandments being in all of our schools? I think it's great because even if you don't believe, if you're not a Bible person, there's certainly nothing negative in the Ten Commandments. But I mean, I don't know if there's an equivalent in other faiths that would make folks cringe if we said, oh, by the way, we're going to have these top 10 takeaways from the Quran, let's say, in every school. I've always said, when I was a little guy, we did pray in school. It made sense to me because we prayed at home, we prayed at church, we prayed everywhere. I remember when prayer was, quote unquote, taken out of school. I remember my mom sitting me down and saying, they They just love each other, son. That's why they. No, she didn't say that. She said nobody can ever stop you from praying. If you have a test coming up and you want to bow your head at your desk and just pray that you have a clarity of mind, and that she always said you're going to reap what you sow. You know, that you want to pray that God helps you remember what you studied. You don't go to God with a, oh, help me, I didn't study. You go to God with a, hey, I put in my time. Help me to have a clarity of mind to accomplish what I need to do here. She goes, nobody can take that from you. So I don't want to have, you know, Muslim Day at the school. And I think if you start forcing that level of religion, because we're trying to show the world that Texas is a Christian state, people start demanding equal time, you may be better off kind of sitting on the sidelines with that. I don't know, Cody, what do you think?
I think that the thing that I agree with that you said more than anything was nobody can take away the things that you want to process in your head and your heart.
Amen.
And so if you want to have that moment before you take a test or before you go on the field, then you should do it, whether the government's involved or not. Now, am I a fan of the Ten Commandments? Absolutely. And I think that they hold value for people, whether you're Christian or not.
I agree. I was finding it interesting that, you know, when a coach got reprimanded for going down to the end zone and hitting a knee before a game. And I'm like, you don't know who he's praying to. You don't even know if he's praying. But I just found it interesting. Well, we don't want that demonstrative act. Attorney General Paxton reiterated support for Senate Bill 10, mandating, that's an interesting word, mandating the 10 Commandments in every Texas public classroom. I don't like jamming religion down people's throats, even though I don't see any problem really with the 10 Commandments being in our classrooms, because there's nothing but positivity in understanding what God wants and doesn't want. Real quick, and I realize that's a bag of worms. We can go with that. Chesnick Furniture Company, Chesnick and Love, make your house a home. Get by and see why you just always do better at Chesnick. Bobby Leon and his family would love to visit with you about your home decorating needs. They have all types of accoutrement. They are there for you. Paravita Wellness, Vita Cafe. Let them help you with your macros, with your diet, with your food choices. They can certainly help you. They'd love to help you. Get by there. There's Paravita's on Airline. Vita Cafe is right out here off Nursery Road. Adson Offer and AdsonOffer.com. Adson Offer wants to be your home for your next car. Reach out to them. They'd love to help you. Adson Offer. It's just that simple. For over 100 years, right at 100 years, Adson Offer has been Victoria's dealership. I want to read some of these last comments. Let's see. I'll just start up here. You come right down to. I'd like to know the reason. I'd like to know what is the reason millions of taxpayer dollars are spent on Muslim cities and places of worship here in Texas. I don't know. Time to worship the flying spaghetti monster. Where's my colander? Let's see. I don't know what Peter's saying. He says, kids, much ado about nothing. We'll have to see. Stephanie agrees that the Ten Commandments should be in our schools. Of course, they weren't when we were kids. But I do agree. Stephanie says these are things this country was built on. I do agree with that. Tammy Williams says, I feel as a Christian we've been hushed, not able to talk about God openly. She says, example, Holly Weird. Hard to argue. The schools in Canada are no longer allowing homemade bacon, lettuce, and tomato sandwiches because the bacon offends the Muslim community. If you don't think that can happen here, you're naive and ignorant. And if it happens here, that's wrong. You come here, you assimilate. You don't dictate. You are more than a guest. You can be welcomed, but you don't get to come here in the minority and tell us, here's what we want. We don't want to deal. We don't want your kid eating bacon in front of my kid. You don't get to do that. And then just because they become the majority, they don't get to do that either, which is why we probably can't let them become the majority.
But what if my kid has a bacon allergy?
Right? Well, your kid should sit somewhere else. Tammy Keeling, correct. As long as there are tests, there will be prayer in school. Yeah. And I agree. Stephanie Connie says there's not a Muslim anything that has anything to do with the foundation of our country. I agree. Yep. All right, folks, it's the top of the hour. That's how quick it happens when you participate. We appreciate you guys. Wish you nothing but a fantastic Tuesday. Don't be safe out there on the road.
I've been kicked out of my near every bar around. I've been locked up for driving 123.